Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. Hey everyone, on my previous flight I showed you the current state of construction of a new building at the south end of the crash testing facility. So today I thought I would provide some additional information about what is going on here and what it means for Tesla as we move further into 2026. Now this is related to the commitment the company recently reiterated at the 2025 and fourth quarter financial results meeting on pursuing autonomy and seeking ways to further improve the safety of autonomous vehicles that will play a big role in the future of physical AI. This new facility is a key capability addition to the existing crash testing capabilities at Giga Texas. It also adds to other crash testing facilities that Tesla operates at Fremont, California. So what is it? It is a new Anthropomorphic Test Devices, or ATD laboratory, and it is set to enhance Tesla's already world-class vehicle safety program, especially as the company gears up for that future of autonomous mobility. And we've seen some of this in the very recent news. On Wednesday, Tesla's VP of Engineering, Lars Moravy, testified before the U.S. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation during a hearing titled Hit the Road, Mac, the Future of Self-Driving Cars. This session focused on advancing autonomous vehicles, or AVs, their development, modernizing outdated regulations, and addressing the U.S.-China competition in this trillion-dollar industry, which underscores the importance of this new ATD facility. So let's discuss further. First off, the permit for this facility has already been filed with the Travis County Permit Agency. It was filed on the 30th of December. It's got the permit 2025-1571, and it's listed as the Cathode ATD Lab. And this is situated very close to the cathode building, which is why it was filed under the permit with this label. Now, the permit allows for the construction to continue, but it looks like there's going to be additional certifications that are needed along the way, and the commissioning is expected to be about the 28th of June, 2026. Now, looking at some of my most recent drone flights, specifically the one that I just finished 2 days ago, we've been watching the construction on the south end of this facility progressing. As of now, the crews have framed out a new site with the perimeter trenching, installed the yellow moisture barrier, have the rebar being installed, and all of the utilities, piping, and conduits have been installed underneath that moisture barrier. So very soon, if not today, we will start seeing concrete being poured at the site. So what exactly is an ATD? That is a really good question. These are commonly known as crash test dummies, and they're sophisticated human surrogates that are equipped with hundreds of sensors like accelerometers and load cells. And they help simulate human responses. Those would be accelerations, forces, and deflections during crashes, and they help evaluate injury risk from frontal, side, or rollover impacts. There are a couple of key types of these crash test dummies. One is the 50th percentile male, which is the most common size for men. Also, the 5th percentile female, along with various child sizes to conduct a variety of tests. And in addition to that, Tesla is using something called Thor, which is the test device for human occupant restraint. This was developed by NHTSA, and it offers superior biofidelity with over 150 sensors in newer models, which helps cap detailed data on brain, rib, and organ injuries. The construction of this ATD lab couldn't come at a better time as we've mentioned, autonomous vehicles like the Cybercab present the future of mobility. With no driver controls, occupants can recline, work, or relax in new seating positions and directions, and this poses unique safety challenges. Tesla's AV dummies, built on Thor technology with 150 data channels and flexible pelvic structures, are designed for these scenarios, ensuring protection and impacts and from other passengers. And finally is some additional information. I don't know if you knew this or not, but this entire facility and the processes that they're using with crash test dummies integrate seamlessly with the existing crash test program. Tesla vertically integrated the entire systems by modifying electric car drive motors and electrical systems to create in-house towing mechanisms for the test, which includes a flying floor setup, and that is for side impacts. Also, the cable that is pulled by those electric motors brings the vehicles at a desired speed towards the crash testing wall so they can compare and collect a lot more of that data. So in summary, now you know what this construction project is for. It is the ATD lab, and it helps elevate Giga Texas's role in pioneering safer autonomous driving. And it's another step in Tesla's pursuit of zero fatality vehicles and embracing that physical AI and autonomous driving. So now that you know, let's get into the drone. Let's fly around and see what else is going on here at Giga Texas. And I appreciate you watching along. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. What a beautiful sunrise to begin today's video. I got here a little bit earlier, and it turns out to be a really great time to fly, even though it was a little bit cool. I'm going to start off here on the kind of northwest side, just on the other side of the highway. Show you a few things that are developing over here. Now, this is that staging yard for a lot of the transport trucks. It looks like we also have a covered vehicle. And the other thing that I noticed right off the bat is this clearing is getting some additional work today. See a bulldozer, another piece of equipment, the downtown brightly lit with the sun coming up over the horizon. But it looks like they are coming back here to do some work in this general location. What this is, I'm not really sure, but it's been a while since we've seen this activity, so it's something that I will keep an eye on. Also, much of this equipment that you see here, the steel beams in particular, and also some of the other equipment, this has been relocated from the far southwest side, that staging yard, and that's been going on for a little while now as they clear that out. So it looks like they are relocating a lot of the equipment here. The Evapco fan units really haven't changed much, or the rest of this equipment, but a lot of that steel is coming to this part of the site. So keep that in mind when we get a little bit later into the video, and we'll talk about what's going on at the south end. This staging yard is also getting some of the steel items delivered. Also, there's some materials at the bottom of the screen. And of course, the two iconic tents behind the tree line, all those racks for the castings. Still not a lot of change here in this field, but I'm also watching that for future construction. Even though this is not a production day, we do see a lot of Cybertrucks lining up here on the east side of the end of line in lane number 4. Some other vehicles along the side of the building as well. With all the lights flashing, looks like they may be doing some sort of software update perhaps, or just waiting to move them in for some processing. So they may be operating the end of line even though production is not going on today. Now the north end here of end of line, the direct delivery center, my previous video we talked about a new permit that talks about a shade structure that will be installed here. Don't really see that yet. There are some vehicles at the bottom of the screen that are being set out for direct delivery, and hopefully we'll see more of that continuing today. And also a lot of the Model Ys, possibly the all-wheel drives on the left-hand side of the screen, doing some testing and going into the end-of-line facility, and others are being lined up here next to the test track. Again, it's clear that end-of-line is operating even though production is not today. Now, there's a few other things that I'll talk about later in the video that may relate to this. At the superchargers, there is some activity going on, and this lot just to the south of there, As we mentioned before, there's a new permit for superchargers here at the end of line, so I'll be keeping an eye on this to see if they're doing modifications or additions throughout this area. But I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude. We'll fly over the outbound lot and also at a higher altitude, just to give you a good sense of the activity here. And a nice view of downtown Austin at the top of the screen, well lit by the lighting. And I'll bring the drone back down to show you this clearing that it continues to see work. Some of this is going to see an extension of the road on the right-hand side of the screen, and that will continue all the way down to, at the top of the screen, that large parking lot that has been emptied out. So that is something I'm going to be watching to see what they end up doing here. In addition to that, as I bring the drone down, you can see some of the stakes in the ground where they are marking off for some sort of construction. Again, I'll have to watch that to see. I don't have any particular permits on this, so I think we'll have to see it visually first, and I'll keep looking for those. Many of the transformers continue to be staged here. We've seen a few more arriving, and I think, again, this is just accumulating for off-site at some point. As we continue to fly further to the south, at the bottom center of the screen is that gantry crane that they've used over at Stamping periodically to unload some of the heaviest of the deliveries and put them on self-propelled modular transformers for moving inside the factory. This is a lot of equipment and cabinetry that's associated with the 4680 cell production part of the factory. That continues to be lined up on the east side of this lot. Over at the supercharger workshop, as I zoom in, you can see that there are some more posts being put onto the base, and the boxes have the supercharger V4 cabinets, and they are doing a lot more work here on storing on the west side. I also see some of those portable power walls and units. Some of those we've actually seen being deployed because of disaster areas, in addition to being used around the factory. So bring the drone up over the power lines, we can see that just below the drone, all of this area that used to have steel has been moved away except for this one small section. That's what's been moved up to the north area. Also, there's a lot of work with this clearing today, picking up dirt. This large parking lot where I put up the arrow, the kind of gate that all the workers would go through and get on the shuttle buses has been removed. The fact that this is now a week with nothing here, also with what we see at the top middle of the screen with all of this being cleared out, kind of suggests that we're going to see some sort of change, maybe construction, or at least certainly reconfiguration work throughout this entire section. Now you can also tell on the ground that there are several conduit risers in rows. These are for lighting systems, so it's possible that this will be used for additional parking, maybe in the ramp up for Cybercabs, as they might need a lot more space. So this is something I will definitely be keeping an eye on. Now on the west half, we have more of the concrete vault items, manhole covers, and some other production equipment. Next to the power lines, we see some of the manifolds and pipes, other equipment, some of which is wrapped in the white wrapping. Some of it's in red and white paint, which would be production line equipment. We see some of the other items here, including an aerator for a pond. So just a lot of mismatch of parts over in this side of the site. So I bring the drone up over the power lines again. We'll approach into the southwest corner of the factory. The bottom of the screen is where they've been doing a lot of the dirt infill and clearing over where their caisson was installed. And a great view just across the highway to all the work on the south end. So I'm going to get ready to cross over the highway, and we'll take a look at what's going on the other side, south of the Colorado River. You can see the work underneath the power lines on the ground just to the south of Falwell Lane, some additional excavation work and pipe segments that are set aside. Also, there's some concrete pipe segments as well. This is a great view of this work that is just to the south of the Colorado River. As we cross over that river, we'll head into the south end of the main factory. You can see the cooling system is operational on the right. All 6 of the fans are going today. As I'm going to maneuver over the power lines, we're going to turn back to the west, kind of fly in a descending turn over Cyberpond. And we'll take a look at what's going on with the caisson construction, also the underground trench work that has been filled in next to these kind of the rope with the red flags. You can see what that caisson looks like as it's been filled in and part of that circular wall broken open. And this work continues over to where the crane is being dismantled now. And you can see part of the boom on the ground and part of the crane that is in the process of disassembly. As we cross the road, we'll come over to this caisson and the work with this large concrete vault that's down into this excavation. The biggest thing that you'll note is that they are continuing to do the backfill in, and I'll zoom in for a better look. Most of it has now been backfilled in. Some of those beams are still into the ground with some of the sheet piles, but of course all of the spreader bars have been removed and most of the excavation has now been filled back in. Hard to believe that that was several stories below the ground before they filled it all back in. As I zoom back out, a good view of the mechanical equipment, some of the trench boxes and other items still stored here since the work is no longer underway and they are closing up this part of that construction site. As we fly along the south end, a little bit of good lighting to kind of get a glimpse into the top and the bottom floors. I'll kind of maneuver here a little bit on the bottom floor. You can see that a wall kind of building inside the building has been extended over to the left, and also some of the mezzanines that they added in are partially completed. I think it may be time to do a night flight here so we can get a better view of what's going on. So look for that in the near future. Next to the cooling plant, good view at a lower altitude of what this looks like right now. I'm going to bring the drone up, fly just over the parapet wall, and give you a view of this work that is underway on the ground and what it is kind of looking like with some of the subterranean connections they've made. Also, that trench box that's still in place. I'm going to pan the drone up, and one of the things I noticed just behind the power tower here, I'll zoom in, is a Cybercab that's arriving at the factory, going down that new painted lane and into the door. This is the exit point for the Cybercab production line. So it's a great sign to see that vehicle maneuvering in and out through this area. In the near future, we will probably see a lot of Cybercabs driving out this door and then entering on to Cyber Circle, heading to the south, and then over to the end of line facility. And maybe that large parking lot on that southwest side that's being reconfigured might be playing a role with the Cybercab. So that'll be something that I definitely watch for. While we're here, I'll look down at some of the equipment that is being staged here. I think there's been some new wooden crates that have been delivered since my last video, and also some of the construction equipment, pipe segments, and other items are still in this area. Also, note the parking garage. If you look through each of the levels, if you carefully inspect that as we come back again a little bit later, you're going to notice that there's a lot of new Teslas stored in there. That is one of the purposes that Giga Texas uses for that parking lot, is temporary storage of new vehicles. And why they're doing that, that's a good question. I can't really answer that at this time. At the bottom of the screen, we see a new fenced off section that has grown all the way to the south here towards the telephone poles just to the south of River Road, and more of the excavation work and a pipe segment getting ready to be put in. As we fly along the River Road extension, we get a good sense of the double lanes with the median that's starting to take shape. Of course, more of the pipe work on the left by the silt fence has been completed in the trenches, and they've filled that all back in. That work is continuing throughout the intersection with Robotic Avenue. The continuation of River Road is getting some dirt infill with the center dump trucks, and you can see how this is beginning to take shape, heading off towards the east and then bending to the north. Also a good look at all the various workshops, materials, staging areas on this side of the site. This is all in the process of being reconfigured as we're getting ready for some other construction coming up. Now, this site here in the middle, I'll zoom in, is what we saw some dump trucks bringing in dirt on my previous video. It looks like it's somewhat subgrade to where all of the equipment is located. I'm not sure if that's going to be an overall grade change or if that signifies something. But this is a good view with that location at the bottom right and the other clearing. So you get a good contents of where this is, something I will continue to watch as time goes on. Now we're going to pass over the recycling center, head over these trees and look at this material staging yard. While we're doing that, there's also some excavation work for the green pipes at the bottom left. And I'll kind of try to maneuver the drone around so we can see a little bit more of that. There's that newly concreted manifold, or that section in the trench for drainage that drains underneath the road, and a better view of this trench work that is going on with the green pipe on the east side of Robotic Avenue. Now, if you look through parts of the structure here, you can see the Model Ys that are stored there. They appear to be Model Y standards, or what used to be standards, now maybe Model Y rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drives, and that is in addition to all of these that we see on this east testing and calibration lot next to the helicopter pad. There's also some excavation work going on next to the wind tunnel on the right-hand side of the screen. And as I kind of maneuver around, I'd also noticed that the inventory here is actually changing out, even though the total numbers of vehicles seems fairly stagnant. I can tell that by the colors, as sometimes the reds or the blues are at different locations, and also a different mix of Model 3s that are probably brought here as a transit hub, and the Model Ys. Next to the secondary main entrance, we can see some of the materials that have been unpacked and other items that are going inside the factory. Going up over the parapet wall, looking at these enclosures, these were added in about 8-9 months ago, and this is what it looks like today. Also a good view of the solar panels and the additions that were added in. Really no other change with the solar panels on the roof today. I'm going to maneuver around the flagpoles, and we'll bring the drone down to a lower altitude and continue at that point. The exit point for the Model Ys is not active at all. Again, this is Friday, so we're back to that Monday through Thursday production schedule. It looks like they have caught back up after the winter storm of last week. So we continue to fly up to the north. We will stop here and just note that there is some activity with the crane. A lot of materials, packaging that is being recycled right now into those bins. And that follows on a lot of the equipment we've been seeing delivered inside. So we can presume that that all is being installed, and that is coming along fairly well. Next to the battery cell section, I wanted to look and see what these bins appeared like. There are no cans for the 4680s. Whatever was here on my previous video has been moved away. I did notice these blue and white wrapped items that had been delivered. I wanted to come in and zoom in. We'll get a better look at what it is. And this is what these appear like. They may be some racking systems or storage systems. It's hard to tell for sure, but those have recently been delivered, along with another delivery underway right now. So we pass around the northwest corner. You can see the excavation work next to the perimeter fence is continuing. And I'll kind of maneuver here towards the north side of the 4680. There are some materials that have been delivered, but really not a lot, certainly not compared to my previous video, so that work may be completed. As we pass in front of the plastics section, you can see that there's a couple of bins that are loaded up with the bumpers, and another bin being delivered. Those bumpers are being taken away for recycling, and then they can use that material again. I'm not sure why there are so many being recycled right now. Perhaps they are changing over some of their equipment as they prepare for more production of maybe the Cybercab or just a different mix coming into the rest of this year. The north lot with the castings continues to see racks and castings full. A lot of those are Cybertrucks. And then on the northeast side, some more Cybertrucks here. I did notice that they've cut out some more of the concrete next to this manhole cover. It's cordoned off. It looks like there's some additional work here. As we pass over these racks, I'll zoom in. We can see that these are more of the castings for the upper rear assembly for the Cybercab. and more of the rack mounts here that are kind of empty right now. But as we fly a little bit further to the south, we can see more of those upper casting assemblies, more of the boxes with the silver wrapping. And then here we see in some of the racking systems, the rear subframe for the Cybercabs, a bunch of front underbodies for the Cybercab. And then here is just a mix of others in the racks by the baghouse filtration plant. More of the recycled material next to the two furnace loading systems, some of which have wheels in them. Here's another batch of wheels for recycling and melting down, and the second furnace loading system that was added in front of the middle part of last year. I'm going to maneuver around here next to the baghouse filtration plant and come over and zoom in just to show you some more of the front underbodies that are on the ground and a couple of the rear upper castings. And of course, more of these filled with both Cybercab front castings and Model Y rear castings in the racking systems. So I'll bring the drone up and around the baghouse filtration plant furnace exhaust and kind of maneuver around here just to show you some of the other racks with castings and equipment along this east side of the wall. Kind of maneuver around looking down at what is stored here. The black and silver kind of spools on the ground are mounts for the robotic assemblers, and those have not moved in several weeks, so I'm not sure what the holdup is on that. So let's fly up to the electrical switchyard area and the complex where Cortex 2 is and take a look at some of the activity that is underway today. I'll stop here really quickly to show you the temporary offices. This new tent that was erected on my previous video, it looks like that work is now completed, with some AstroTurf underneath with picnic tables. So maybe a break area for the employees. Here's a great look at all of the structures here in the complex of buildings that are continuing to take shape. We'll come back for closer views here, but I wanted to look at some of the workshops on this part of the site, some of the materials and some of the trailers. We'll keep watching this to see when and if all of this stuff starts moving away. The bottom of the screen is that old concrete maintenance facility. Last video, we saw a bunch of the containers being lifted by crane and moved away. Also, the pavilion at the bottom of the screen had some equipment in it. All of that seems to have been moved away. They've decommissioned most of the cables, conduit, electrical, and equipment inside the building. And I'm really expecting to see this being dismantled very soon. We have one concrete truck here. Other than that, pretty much looks abandoned now. I'm going to bring the drone up slowly, fly over this gravel mix and some of the equipment on the ground with some of the corrugated pipes. And we'll approach in to the construction site on the south end of the crash test facility. We now know this is the Anthropomorphic Test Device or Crash Dummy Lab, and it's well underway. They still have some concrete, the rebar to be placed around the perimeter and the center before the concrete can be poured. So maybe it'll take an extra couple of days, but this work is definitely coming along quickly. And it looks like some of the utilities nearby are also in place for that. We also talked in the intro a little bit about that mechanics room, the electric motors that they've repurposed from vehicles for that kind of vertically integrated crash test system with the cable that they pull the vehicles. Also, the structure right at the center of the screen with that kind of awning is where they keep the flying floor when it is not needed. And that all kind of ties together what we talked about in the intro. So hopefully that all adds context and you find that helpful and interesting. As we pass the wade pit, we'll take a quick look at the stored transformers. All of these will be put in on the west side of Cortex 2. And as we'll see a little later in the video, the work to prepare for that is well underway. So let's fly up to the far northeast past the Lippmann recycling and crushing systems that they're setting up here. And just take a look at what is going on all throughout this part of the site. We'll come back here for a closer look. all of these green bins are part of a temporary recycling site, and it doesn't look like there's a lot going on here. The maintenance equipment and maintenance facility has a lot of equipment here today, and this is just a quick brief flyover to show you what this is like and where it is located in relation to this large clearing. We can tell that not a lot of activity with earth moving is happening here now, just on this cleared section where they graded it out for the Lippmann recycling system. You can see the conveyor. It's quite tall here on the bottom right, more of the trailers and the crushing equipment with more conveyors. All of this concrete is going to be broken up for aggregate or for like a gravel mix, and we'll see when that begins. As we get back next to the cathode building, look at across Cortex 2, thought I would take this opportunity and lighting to kind of just look across this site towards Cortex 2, give an overview of all of the activity, the changes, the earthwork, the equipment, and the workshop that is in place. Of course, the cooling system with the plastic walls for the winter. Based on the forecast, I would not be surprised if the next couple of weeks we see that plastic wall starting to be removed. As I fly around the south edge of the die shop, this is a great view along the Tesla Road extension, the guard gate at the bottom of the screen, and the activity that is going on here at Cortex 2. And there is a lot here, so I'll try to cover this quickly. First off, we can see more of the work here on the south end, the paving that has happened, plus some of the trailers that are bringing more equipment in. We're passing the 6 temporary cooling trailers. We talked about the permit for that on my previous video. The 4 fan units and enclosures continues to take shape. The 2 other slab areas are waiting for their turn to have that enclosure done. Also some manifolds and pipes on the left, and that equipment box section on the platform in the right-hand side of the screen. As I kind of pirouette around, we can see some trench work next to the side of the die shop, some of the paved section that's been added, some excavation work at the bottom left of the screen in this clearing, plus some stakes that have been added in around the part 2 of the cooling plant. We can see trenching with the green pipe, more of the work with the forms, plus some of the concrete has already been poured around the perimeter walls. The 4 bunkers on the left are still being prepared. Concrete water pipes along the base of the building as well. Rebar is being fashioned next to this new asphalt section with the worker walking on it. Some more trenching and conduit, and underground trenching with pipe segments here in the northeast corner. A delivery with more electronic cabinetry is being made right now, moved into that door on the left-hand side of the screen. Plus, we see preparations for more of the paving along this north side of the wall, the exterior wall of Cortex 2. As we wrap around the building, we can see where the asphalt road has been added in. We saw that work on my previous video. And this entire graded section next to the wall, all the way up to the Megapacks and the transformers, along with the riser pipes that we see sticking up and the screw type piers, I believe is going to be all the transformers that we saw previously, plus a lot more of the Megapacks. Right now, we can see that there's approximately 129 installed at this moment in time. And this is a great configuration example. We can see the cabling that come up over the parapet wall and enter the building. A large depression here on the south side, and more of the Megapacks that have been delivered but are staged waiting for installation. In fact, there are 3 different staging locations for Megapacks as the work continues to install the piers and beams that will support them. But right now, with all of these added together, there's somewhere close to 150 Megapacks that have been delivered, partially installed here at the Cortex 2. There is plenty of space for easily 100 more. So that may be bringing it up to about 250 or so Megapacks for Cortex 2. And as I pan the drone this way, we can see the other 140 for Megapack 1 and the Cortex 1 data center Megapacks. So that's going to be bringing us close to 400 at least when they're completed. We just passed over some fan enclosures that'll be for cooling plant next to Cortex 2. The vehicles on the right are where the contractors are starting to park next to where this conduit is. We saw earlier that the contractor parking lot in the far southwest has been cleared off. It looks like the contractors are now parking in various different sites near the construction areas on this side of the site. We can see the work with the cable tray trench on the left, more of the assembly of some of the superstructure and the transformer number 2. Some of the trailers that are here to support that, and work is near where that third transformer base and catch basin has been installed. As I kind of maneuver around, this is a great view of all of this together. And we also note at the bottom of the screen the footings that have been installed for more A-frames. That structure steel is at the bottom left of the screen. We see more of the excavation work and the footings for the other A-frames, and those materials are next to the perimeter fence. We see a auger at work right now making another one of the footings. And as I pull away, we can see some of the rebar cages for those piers and for the slabs that they are excavating right now. So I'll kind of give you this overall view of the staging site on the left, the construction site, and how the expansion is coming along. To wrap up the video, I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude and try to give you a good overview of all the areas that we visited today, kind of put it all into context. As always, thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Take care.